again the story about your dad and the original cooker.
Well, my dad was always interested in stuff like this, kind of. And on or about when I was maybe 12, he made basically a box cooker, 24 by 48, double wall. Put a sheet of glass on it because his plan was to make hot water. And when the thermometer got up to close to 300 degrees, he ran inside and came out with a pot of beans and shoved it under the glass, and we cooked beans.
Yeah.
I don't know exactly when, but it had to be 82. 1982, my brother and I went to a solar cooking demonstration, and so the first cooker demonstration I went to was about 85, and went out there with my solar oven. I made it portable. I had a spider leg thing to extend the legs and put it down, because it was never meant to be portable. But I had to show it. And so it became a favorite. I mean, everybody, especially the ladies, liked the fact that the oven door is here. Okay? It will take care of itself. All you got to do is fill it up and walk away. The only thing is, it doesn't reset. And they said, well, can't you make it reset every morning? The answer is why. I mean, you're holding food, and it will reset. Just turn it towards the sun and walk away. Okay? No, I thought about that. I tried to make it automatically reset. Yeah,
Sure.
It was too much electronics.
Yeah.
And so I got rid of all the electronics. And so now the cheap electors that you get at Harbor Freight or on Amazon that go on the dashboard are very, very inexpensive. Any part of that collector, if you shadow it, it stops producing electricity, period.
Right.
We don't need the micro switches. We don't need all that. Just need a shadow to shadow the collector, and it'll stop. So with the shadow, and the collector set at 17 degrees, it stops dead on, facing south.
Okay.
Okay, and it'll stay that way all day. The panels, because they are what they are, will fail in 20 to 30 years. And, well, in the meantime, it's going to still work.
Yeah.
And keep working. So that's the short story.
Sure.
But it has taken 40 years.
Yeah.
Since conception to today.
Sure.
And I'm going around and fixing them now.
Yeah.
So they'll be good for another 30 years. And we'll see how that goes.
Sure.
But I ain't going to be around to fix it.
No, that's it. Once you hand it over to them, it's like a car, you know. It's like, well, you don't go back to Detroit. Yeah. So it's on a stand here at the Savano Middle School, at the kind of the edge of Tucson, although Tucson's growing. And how long has it been here? A couple of decades, right?
Let me see. I gave it to the school. They asked for a solar oven. I just happened to have one at the apartment I was living in, the casita. And so I brought it over and set it up. And everybody looked at it and agreed that would be cool. So we built the brick to put your food on, and the stand, which is just a hollow piece of galvanized pipe full of concrete, and then the shaft goes down in there with the clutch, which is very important to have. And then it's just up to the motor to get enough power to run it.
Sure.
And every morning, around 10 o'clock,
Yeah.
right about now, it gets serious.
Yep.
about cooking.
Sure.
So all I'm saying is,
Yeah.
I've given the good Lord many opportunities to bring me home,
Oh,
and she said, "No, we're going to make you old.
oh no.
We're going to make your teeth fall out
Oh no.
because you've been a very bad boy."
Oh.
Scene 2. So today, I'd like to introduce you to the Nichols solar tracking oven. It was first brought together when we went to a solar potluck back in '83, and we walked around and took a look at all these fantastic solar ovens, and there were dozens of them, all of them really unique, quite different, flowery, beautiful, and they all basically were the same in that they were portable. They were cooking small meals for, like a house or a family, but none of them were really doing the job of providing large amount of foods for a large number of people. That started the quest to come up with the perfect solar oven village size. So we first, my brother and I first went through the potluck and went back and decided that we needed to do something a lot different. So with a sheet metal shop in the family, we made our first one and then went back out the next potluck. And so that was 34 years ago. So I published the first of the series on the Nichols tracking solar oven in 35 years ago, in '85. And since then, every time I've improved on it, I've republished my improvements. I built 5 altogether. They have all been, the youngest one is now 25 years old. Always been in the sun, never brought inside, and works every time. The tracking part is the trick to it, because it took me forever to figure out how to do it and simplify the tracking. So that's what we're going to show off today, plus the design of the oven itself. So this is my brother's. We built it many years ago. We're not sure about how many years ago, but it was over 25, probably 30. So we've upgraded the solar panel, which is a really cheap, which one of these you would put on your dashboard, and it keeps the battery charged. Well, it turns out it's enough to run the motor. And so the motor runs on 24 volts, and these panels produce 18 volts. But what's unique about the panels is they are cheap, and if you shadow any part of it, it quits working. So I spent a lot of money at Radio Shack, and it took the longest time to figure out that you don't need any of that, because if you just shadow these panels, they quit working. So there's a shading device on the panel, and so when it rotates and shadows part of the panel, it stops. The sun moves, it moves. It moves all day as long as the sun's shining. We've cooked 20-pound turkeys. We've done 40 pounds of chili. It's again in the book you will find available, Solar Cookers International, and also my email, alnichols@aol.com. We first joined the Solar Cookers in 35 years ago, and have been going to there ever since. We finally shut down after 35 years of having this potluck. Citizens are Solar. They were our leaders in that effort, and we had a great time. But we decided we needed to do better to make this available for places where they really need solar. what you got here is a trough collector. This screen right here is on here just to cool it off so we could dry food. So normally you'll be cooking with this. Today we're doing some quiche, and we're gonna be doing that today, and it will get up to 350 degrees. It's early in the morning, we got a little shadow here, but this will track and follow the sun all day, and by the end of the day it'll be well done. Now this is what they call a trough collector. It's a trough collector because it's supposed to having 4 mirrors to track up and down. These only have 2, and they track side to side, which makes that a lot easier when you're trying to build a tracking system. It only has to track one direction. And so this is 45 degrees, which is optimum for panels in Tucson, which is 32 degrees. And the best optimum angle is latitude plus 10, which makes it 42 degrees. So close enough. This is 45 degree slope. So what happens at that slope, it favors the low winter suns, and it's more efficient. Now in the summer, the sun is up, straight up, and it's less efficient. But the net is that from winter to summer, it maintains 350 degrees. So that is the optimum angle for this type of oven. That is the panel. I'm going to pull it around here. And this is the oven door. Now I've unplugged it so it doesn't start running. But what's going to happen is the food is ready, because this is the cooking chamber here. Now this is an insulated box with 2 inches of rigid fiberglass, and this door is insulated, and this counterweight holds the door tight shut. And so when you open the door, which is what everybody loves when we take it out to the potluck, is the cooking all happens right here. Now, as you can see, the counterweights have been captured right here and here. So now we've had 5 gallons of chili in here, and you can pull it out, set it right on the door, and this will hold it. And because it's anchored in the ground, it's not going to tip over. The other thing, besides having a convection, because it's circulating from below, we've also got radiant, like baking, and like a broiler. And then we have this aluminum plate, which is 1/4 inch aluminum, and that conducts up underneath the cooking, and then enhances the cooking. So you got it from below, from above, and by circulation. And yes, it really does work. So, got 5 of these we built. All of them are working, except we have been upgrading these panels, because they were never really meant to be outdoor. They were meant to be on a dashboard. And after about 20-25 years, they've been losing power and failing. So this one's the same panel, 30 years later. And it's been caulked in so that it's watertight. And so this should last for another 30 years. And so this is the point of building this type of collector. It should be permanent. It should be used specifically because they need it. The ones we went to, the solar potluck, most of those were only brought out, once a year. So they're fun, but there are places that need it much more, and that's why I'm letting this be free. I have put this into the public domain, and you can get a copy of that by emailing me, alnichols@aol.com, and you can get a copy from International Solar Cookers. So that's my point. My point is, I never patented it. I never would. And every country has their own patent laws. And I would like someone to pick this up and make it affordable and in places and in countries where it's needed. So this is the point of solar cooking. It's not just because it's clever, because it's very easy to do. You can put your coffee on the dashboard in Tucson and come back out after a meeting and it's still hot. So it's not difficult, but it's needing to be more oriented towards places where they need it. This can be upsized and do, instead of 20 pounds a day, 30, maybe 40 pounds a day. So again, we have it available. Just give me a call, give me an email, and I'll send you to it. Enough information to build one. Thank you.
So this is your solar cooker at the Milagro co-housing property. Tell me how I got here. Remind me how I got here.
Well, we donated one to the Milagro, which is built by Wayne Moody, who also was involved in our Savano project. And this is a co-housing, 27 units, as opposed to Savano, which is 2,700 units. And this is a co-housing, and very desirable. And he was a bit disappointed because he didn't get his way in Savano, so he built Milagro, which was actually required a land swap even to get access to the property. But he got his way here. He built natural materials, adobe. He's got solar electric, solar water, and totally green, everything. They actually don't even have a sewer connection here. They use wetlands. So they have 2 wetland ponds that all the sewage goes out there, and they grow reeds and things. And so it's only got electric, but we got PV, and we got solar water, and I've never done an audit on their utilities here, but I'll bet they're extraordinarily low. It's an interesting project. This was brought here and donated to the community, and it says on the brick down there that it was donated in recognition of Wayne Moody. And so we took the picture, and I haven't been back since, until we started seeing that these panels were failing after 20 years. This one is at least 20 years old, probably a little more than that. And so we set about to change out the panels and replace them with the same panels. But this time they're black and they will last longer, and we caulked them up with silicone, black silicone, to prevent them from getting waterlogged. So the short story is, we had one available, and we brought it out here. Upgrades since the very beginning is the glass mirror tiles have been replaced with aluminized aluminum reflective material. The front surface. The glass is still just ordinary window glass. It's 2 layers thick, and we make them ourselves. We use a 1/4 inch by 1/2 inch 1/4 inch plate to make the spacer, and then we just glue it all together. And so that's how we make the panel. And then there's a drip hole in the very bottom, because if we're cooking a lot of stuff in there, it can condense, and we don't want any water in the bottom. So the bottom half is a flat plate separated from the bottom, so that as the air heats that plate, the heat rises up into the cooking chamber and then as the cooking chamber cools off, the air sinks down to the bottom, and it continuously does this all day. So the sun temperature is what you see on the front, and the cooking temperature, the air temperature, is the thermometer on the side. But it's a combination of thermal, heat, and radiation, as in a broiler. So it's like cooking in a broiler at the same time. It easily will do a 20-pound turkey. We've done 40 pounds of chili, 3-day chili, because chili takes 3 days to be any good. And we would take it out to the solar potluck, and we did that for, well, the solar potluck was around for 37 years. And we went out and looked at it, my brother and I, and we decided we could do a better job. So instead of, scrubbing around in the dirt, we started with the design that the door needs to be here. So we started with the door, and then I went down to measure a 20-pound turkey, and that's how we sized the cooking chamber.
So right now,
It's
it stopped because it doesn't take much of a shadow on the panel for it to stop. Wow.
So it stopped right there. And in a while it's going to move a little bit. In a little while it's going to move a little bit more. And it'll just keep that up all day. And it spins all
Yep.
no longer have any reason for it not to. And there's a clutch down there that's between what looks like 2 gears, but basically what it is 2 flat surfaces to put a piece of leather in, so that it can spin around. And anyhow, if you open the door in the back, you'll find the 2 counterweights come up catch. And that will allow you to put 20 pounds of anything on the door itself.
Sure. Oh, wow. Yeah.
Okay? And so, those counterweights keep the door shut tight. Now, the way I made the gasket was, when we were all done, it's not really airtight. So I took silicone, and I ran a bead of silicone all the way around the door. And then I had saran wrap. I put the saran wrap over the bead, and then I shut the door. All good. But there you go.
Yeah. Well, thank you. This is great. We got. I mean, I got pretty good shots there at the school actually. A little bit of the story there, and